Hello everybody, how you all doing? My name is Niall and welcome back to the fourth video, an official video in my YouTube channel called Teens Read. Today we are going to be talking about the fourth and final book in the inheritance cycle, Inheritance. Thank you, Jeffy. And this is really like the culmination of all of the books. This is kind of where he wraps it up and kind of finishes it and ties everything together in the story. But I think he leaves too many cliffhangers, which is why I'm hoping for another book, but I don't think it's coming. What I really liked about this book was that there's a lot of like not side tracks, but like side quests, side adventures kind of things. Like one where Roran, who's Aragon's cousin, he has to siege a castle with 30-foot tall walls, and he only has 600 men, and he only has 2 weeks to take over the castle. And it's really interesting seeing how he kind of has to deal with that, and how like he has developed his strategic mind and things. Another example of the side adventures is Aragon goes to the ancestral home of the Riders, and he learns things about himself there, and he learns his true name. Kitty, no, go away. Sorry, it's my cat trying to. Oh man. Okay. Punda. Okay, well, here's Punda. Over here, Punda Malia. My cat. Punda Malia is actually zebra in Swahili. Fun fact. Anyway, so another example of the sidetrack is Aragon goes to the ancestral home of the Riders and learns a lot about himself, and he finds his true name, and he finds things there about himself and about the world, and he learns a lot about history and things, and he learns about the world and the past and things like that. And it's very that's probably one of my favorite parts of this story. Another thing that I really like about this book is how Aragon and Roran's relationship develops as they both step into similar positions of power, but on different scales. Roran kind of takes it as on a person-by-person basis. He tries to meet everyone in his group, especially the more important people, like the elves. And whereas Aragon, he kind of has to oversee people, because he has to deal with thousands of people at a time, whereas Roran only has to deal with hundreds. And it's really interesting seeing how their relationship changes with them both being in similar positions of power, but on different levels. And that's one of my favorite parts. Another thing that I really enjoy about this book is how Aragon kind of grows into himself and he gets a really strong personality and starts kind of overseeing people and kind of really takes to his position of power well, and he kind of does better at it than he did in the previous books, and I really like seeing that, and how he becomes more powerful, and how he learns things about himself and about the world, and it's a really interesting like evolution for him of how he gets more like knowing about himself and almost everything else. And I think those are probably my top 3 favorite things about this book. And my top 3 characters are Galbatorix, the evil king. He just seems like he seems so all powerful and all knowing at times, but then he also has times where he has times where he gets weaknesses, sort of. And it's really interesting. That part of it is really interesting. And then I also really like Murtagh, who used to be Aragon's friend and apparently is his stepbrother, and he's a very fascinating character because he kind of becomes becomes like powerful, but in a bad way compared to Aragon, and he kind of gets hurt over and over again by different people, and it makes him a dangerous person. And but he's still he's got like a really hard exterior, but he still does have feelings, unlike Galbatorix, who's just a complete monster. Then probably my third favorite character in this book is Mord, who's Angela the Witch's Weircat, or they're companions, really. She doesn't own him or anything. But he's a really, like, mysterious character, and he, like, talks to Aragon and tells him things that he doesn't even really know where they came from and things. And he gets all of the Weircats to come and help and join in the fight, and it's really interesting to see how he aids the Varden and Angela the herbalist, because he really does a good job at like being mysterious, but at the same time being like a really friendly person, because he can change between a cat and a boy, and it's really interesting seeing that. And so this is really the book where everything wraps up, and I really like that in the end, Christopher Paolini has all the races kind of come together into like a council, where Nasawada becomes the queen, and then all of the other races have a representative there. And I really enjoyed that about this story. And there you go. There's the Inheritance Cycle, my favorite book series ever. In a nutshell. I mean, there's of course more small details to it and things, but I didn't want to make it too long. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you have book suggestions or things you'd like me to read, leave it down in the comments, the book title and author, and I'll make sure to check it out. Thanks.